With the first pick in the 2003 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James.
It's official. The era of LeBron James in LA is officially over. After 8 consecutive seasons and a 2020 championship and breaking the all-time scoring record in the purple and gold, LeBron James' agent, Rich Paul, has dropped the ultimate bombshell. LeBron is taking his talents elsewhere for the 24th NBA season. And while Bronny remains locked into his rookie deal in LA, the father-son dream duo on the court is officially over. LeBron is moving on. But at 41 years old, averaging 20.9 points and over 7 assists a game, this doesn't seem like a retirement tour. LeBron wants one last ring. According to LeBron James' agent Rich Paul, there are 10 teams that made the cut for potential landing spots for LeBron James. Some are historic rivals, some are championship blockbusters, and one is somewhat of a bizarre business play. It has nothing to do with basketball. In this video, I'm going to be deep diving into all 10 potential landing spots, spending the time to break down exactly why it will work or why it will fail. Let's begin with the team that Rich Paul admitted would have ended the sweepstakes instantly. The New York Knicks, the 2026 NBA championships. Rich Paul literally said that if the Knicks didn't win the championship last year, there'd be no board and he would have been a New York Knick. Now, it's easy to see why. Playing at Madison Square Garden is the, basketball dream. And a lineup featuring Jalen Brunson, LeBron James, Karl Anthony Towns, that lineup would absolutely dominate the league's IQ charts. Now, I could see LeBron fitting in as a point forward here. It would relieve a lot of playmaking pressure off of Jalen Brunson. But, this team just won the finals. So with all that talent, and then you add in a player such as LeBron James, I know he's 41, but he's still incredibly talented. This team would be incredibly stacked with players pretty much the same lineup as last year, just losing Mitchell Robinson. They got Miles Bridges, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, and then adding LeBron James. Like I said, I know he's 41, but still would be a great addition to the roster, although they did just win the finals, so I'm not sure if they need him, but it would definitely be cool to see, I think. However, the Knicks did win the finals last season, so it's not guaranteed that LeBron will join. They're the reigning champions. But Rich Paul noted that they checked in out of due diligence. But for LeBron, joining a team that literally just won a title without him, in my opinion, I think that would hurt his legacy. It kind of turns into like a KD to the Warriors type situation. And I wouldn't say it hurt his legacy, but it definitely wouldn't look great for him, especially if they go on to win another finals or at least make a finals appearance. Wouldn't look great on him. Jalen Brunson would also have to clear pretty much any ego hurdles to make room for the LeBron media circus. So I think this is somewhat unrealistic. Obviously, it's a potential landing spot, but I think this is an unrealistic spot for LeBron. But it's fun to think about. But I think the Knicks' recent championship and their recent success ironically closed the door for LeBron James. So when we look at his second potential landing spot, in the Philadelphia 76ers. This one, kind of surprising, but I think this team could also be very, pretty much unstoppable. I understand LeBron is past his prime. I understand he's 41 years old. He's still very talented. This roster would include talent of LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Joel Embiid, and Jaylen Brown. If that team is a healthy team, they probably won't not make the finals. That team is probably the most unstoppable team in a while. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Rich Paul openly praised the roster, saying, how could you not have the attention when you have Maxey, Brown, and Embiid? Following the absolute blockbuster trade that landed Jaylen Brown in Philly, the Sixers are a terrifying juggernaut for LeBron. But I think if you drive LeBron into this mix, you're looking at the most physically imposing lineup in modern NBA history. This team would be very, incredibly dominant. I don't think they'd be as good as the 2016 Warriors, but I think they'd be a very dominant team and very unstoppable. Tyrese Maxey would provide the explosive perimeter speed, while Jaylen Brown offers elite wing defense, and Embiid would anchor the paint. Max Kellerman in the podcast pointed out that all Philly really needs is a high IQ power forward who can space the floor and make elite decisions. Who does that describe, or who does that remind you of? 2026 LeBron James. Now, there's obviously downsides to this. Who's going to control the ball when you have four ball-dominant players in Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown? They all thrive with very high usage. Plus, Embiid's health is always he's very injury-prone, especially recently. So can LeBron trust Philly's medical staff to keep the window open for a potential landing spot there? I also, like I said, for the Knicks, I also don't see this as I wouldn't say this is a weak move, but I think joining a team like this and building a stacked team, I understand this is last season most likely, but, I think this would also tarnish his legacy, just joining a team that is this stacked, at least on paper anyway. But on court, if this team is healthy, this is an immediate championship favorite with that incredibly stacked roster. I mean, your worst starter is probably LeBron James, and that's only because he's 41. But he's still, like I said, I keep saying this, I gotta make it clear, incredibly talented, and it's unbelievable what we're witnessing right now. Now, on to a surprising number 3, somewhat of a dark horse team, or a dark horse contender for LeBron. This team, a very controversial team on Rich Paul's whiteboard, is the Boston Celtics. And for over a decade, Boston was, LeBron's villain. The idea of LeBron wearing green kind of seems like, it seems wrong to watch, But on the board, Rich Paul wrote Brad and Tatum, obviously talking about Brad Stevens and Jason Tatum. Brad Stevens is currently managing a massive roster restructure after moving Jaylen Brown for Paul George. Some may say it's a questionable move. I made a video on that. Go check it out. If Stevens can somehow construct a way to pair Jason Tatum, Derek White, Paul George, and LeBron James, two pretty old players right there, but the basketball intelligence on this floor would be absolutely unmatched, and LeBron playing under Boston's pristine spacing and system would allow him to play a highly efficient, low-minute role, especially under the great coaching staff that Boston has, under Joe Mazzulla, and then under great staff like Brad Stevens. But if we're being real, this is one I don't see happening. Just honestly, based off the fact that Boston fans hate LeBron alone, and LeBron historically despises TD Garden environment. I don't see this one happening. I don't think LeBron going to Boston would make them contenders. I mean, they'd make them contenders, but I don't think it would I don't think it's a guaranteed win. I don't think he would risk it if he's really ring chasing right now. I think he would go to a team with a better chance to win. But to make the money work under the harsh luxury tax rules, Boston would have to strip away their depth pretty much entirely. I think there's just too many negatives to this than positives. I don't think it benefits the Celtics or LeBron. I don't think, unless the Celtics were guaranteed to win this year, I don't think they would do it. And maybe if they had Jaylen Brown, but after losing him, I don't think Boston does this. They've also been in talks of getting Giannis, making pushes for a lot of players, and they haven't really made any. So I don't see it happening really at all. But this would be very visually iconic, but I think this is financially almost impossible, and just honestly, it would be wild to see happen. Now, with the 4th potential landing spot for Braun, brings us back to where it all began, back home, the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a sentimental favorite, and the behind-the-scenes connections run deep. Rich Paul pointed out that Cavs assistant GM Brandon Weems is basically a brother to LeBron. Now, as you know, perfect as this would be, I mean, Cleveland's roster is radically different now. They have Donovan Mitchell. They just brought in James Harden. So starting five featuring Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, LeBron James, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. Like, on paper, that is an all-star game lineup. Like, that team, pretty much with every team I'm going to mention, like, it's like, who's stopping this team? LeBron would have elite shot makers around him, 2 elite defensive bigs to cover his tracks on defense, and with IQ of LeBron James, I mean, this roster would be unbelievable. And Rich Paul openly admitted that LeBron is a massive fan of Darius Garland, but Darius Garland is no longer on the Cavs, who recently shipped off to LA, to the Clippers. Now, while Rich Paul cleared the air by saying LeBron loves James Harden too, the loss of Darius Garland changes the young, organic chemistry LeBron usually likes to return to. However, this seems like one of the most realistic spots. I mean, the narrative is beautiful. The roster is ready. Cleveland is definitely a top-tier threat to land him. And if we're being real, I mean, coming back home to end his career where it started, where he won a championship with, I mean, this would be perfect. And then this is definitely a team that has the talent to win the finals. I mean, they made Eastern Conference finals last year. So, I mean, adding LeBron James, I don't know why they wouldn't make the finals this year. They should win it with the mind that he has. I mean, this roster would be absolutely incredible, and I think, like I said, I think the narrative would just be beautiful, returning back home to where it all started. This is where I would like to see him land, to be honest. I think this would, out of any place that he would go, I think this would tarnish his legacy the least. I think this would end it perfectly. You know, this is how it was meant to be, in my opinion. But going on to his fifth potential landing spot, this is where a lot of people probably want to see Bron end up. The Golden State Warriors, staying in the West Coast in Cali. The world has wanted a Steph Curry and LeBron James pairing for years, since they've been playing, 4 times in a row in the NBA Finals. I mean, Rich Paul confirmed that the idea holds immense appeal to LeBron. I mean, who wouldn't want one of arguably the greatest player of all time and the greatest shooter of all time on the same team? Like, unless you're playing against them, I don't know who wouldn't want that. But it'd be very fun to watch. We saw it on Team USA. It'd be a very fun team to watch. I don't know if the team itself would be good enough to make a run to the finals, but just the duo or the trio even of Curry, Bron, and Draymond be absolutely fun to watch. However, Bron did say he wanted to go to Golden State with AD. The Wizards aren't willing to give up AD, so not sure how well that's going to work out. Or I'm not sure if Bron's going to end up going now. But it would be pure basketball poetry. I mean, Steph Curry's off-ball gravity means LeBron would have wide open lanes for the first time, I mean, really since the Miami days. And Draymond and LeBron, I mean, they're good friends. They share an elite basketball IQ that would orchestrate defenses perfectly, with Draymond's defense, Curry shooting, Bron's IQ. I mean, this team would be the greatest team of all time, a decade ago. The only problem is they're getting pretty old. Obviously, Bron's 41. Everybody's getting up there in age. Everybody's still amazingly talented. I feel like I have to keep saying that, or else I'm gonna catch a lot of heat from somebody. But due to the aging roster of Golden State, I mean, everybody pretty much on the starting roster is above 30. So for LeBron to get there, the Warriors would have to execute a complex sign and trade, sacrificing their remaining young assets, leaving them with incredible top-heavy older roster in a brutal Western Conference, meaning they pretty much have one season to win a championship, and then they're going to be in rebuild mode for a very long time if they have to get rid of a lot of their younger assets. But I think this is the fan favorite option. I don't know how realistic this one is, especially after LeBron mentioned that he wanted he would go only if AD went, and the Wizards, like I said, they're not willing to give up AD. So not sure how realistic this one is, but obviously, like I said, it's gonna be a fan favorite, and I mean, who wouldn't want to see greatest player, greatest shooter, and an incredible defender all on one team? It'd be the greatest trio we've seen in a very long time for sure. On to the sixth potential landing spot for LeBron James. He's back in South Beach on the Miami Heat, teaming up with Giannis and Bam. Be another great trio. I mean, like I said, pretty much anywhere LeBron goes will end up making a great trio or even just a great team. Miami Heat are right in the center of Rich Paul's targets, and the roster looks completely different right now than the one that Bron had in 2014 when he left. Pat Riley pulled off the unthinkable by landing Giannis, pairing him up with Bam Adebayo and incredible defensive talent in Davion Mitchell. If you add LeBron James to a Giannis and Bam frontcourt, under the brilliance of a coach like Eric Spoelstra, you have a defensive wall that no team really in the NBA can breach. Now LeBron does know Heat culture inside and out, and returning to win a ring with Giannis would for sure solidify his executive legacy. Does it tarnish his legacy by going to going to a good team? That's up for debate, but it would definitely, finishing his career on one last ring with two great superstars in Giannis and Bam would definitely be, exciting to see. Big roadblock here, not really for LeBron, but definitely for the Heat, would be the lack of spacing, as they already have that with Bam and Giannis. They already have a lack of spacing. Imagine Bron joining this team. A floor featuring Giannis, Bam, and LeBron offers very little outside shooting threat. I guess I'll say an aging LeBron would offer very little outside shooting threat. Now, teams would simply pack the paint, dare them shoot from deep, and obviously they'd make some with Bam and Bron. They're not horrible three-point shooters, but they're more so known for getting to the paint. So I could see this happening, but especially with a coach like Eric Spoelstra, I think he could make it ultimately work. I don't know if this would be a finals contender. It'd be a finals contender, like I said, with the Celtics, but I don't think they'll really have a chance to win. Now, I do think him returning to Miami would be, it'd bring elite culture, elite defense, but I do think the offensive spacing would be somewhat of a nightmare. But like I said, I just think anything could be possible under Eric Spoelstra's coaching. But we'll see if this is. I do think this is a possibility. I still think Cleveland's probably his number one. I think that it's the best win-win between Bron and the team. But Miami is definitely a good option as well with this roster. However, like I said, I don't think Miami has as great of a chance to win a championship as the other teams that he could potentially go to. Now, Minnesota, surprisingly, is a team ramping up its pursuit aggressively right now. Rich Paul centered them on his whiteboard for a very strategic, roster-specific reason. Timberwolves have a great roster. They're reportedly losing their top two power forwards in free agency, which creates a massive gaping hole in their starting lineup. Pause. Rich Paul looked at the whiteboard, noted that on-court fit for LeBron in Minnesota is seamless. He would slide perfectly into the power forward slot next to Rudy Gobert, and then on the floor with Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball too. Bron wouldn't really have to carry the scoring load. He could just act as an elite orchestrator while letting Ant be the explosive ball dominant guard as well as LaMelo Ball. But with Bron's IQ, and obviously Bron's playmaking, still great scorer, but he doesn't have to be the primary scorer. And then also, it would definitely open up either Anthony Edwards or LeBron getting opened up with a lot of great talent there. Definitely bound to see some double teams. Now, Minnesota is cold weather, small market team. Doesn't sound like too big of a problem, but knowing LeBron, does he want to spend the twilight of his career in Minneapolis? when his entire business empire is rooted in LA and New York. Now, obviously, I know he spent most of his career on a small market team in Cleveland, but is this where he wants to end his career? I think this is. I think if he joined Minnesota would be. They should make the finals. I don't know why they wouldn't, but I don't know if he would want to join Minnesota. I just don't think. I couldn't see it happening. Like, this is just a very, it's a very dark horse contender for LeBron, I feel like. But I do think, like I said, I think the basketball fit would make complete sense. I think he would fit perfectly in the starting lineup. But I don't know. I don't know if I see it happening. But it would be incredible to watch. It's definitely came out of the blue, I feel like. Now, this is another spot I think Bron would thrive in. Maybe not thrive, but I think this would be a perfect landing spot in the San Antonio Spurs. This would be the ultimate passing of the torch, LeBron to Wemby. San Antonio has such a young lineup, and just having a chance to learn from a legend, a veteran such as LeBron James would absolutely it might make San Antonio a 3P. If we're being real, Wemby learned from behind Chris Paul for 1 year, and then he made an incredible jump. Now imagine the entire team under LeBron. I think this would be very good. It'd be better for the team than it would be for Bron himself, I think. But even adding Bron to the team right now would make them pretty much, they should be finals favorites anyway, but it would definitely make them number one finals favorites by far. And then even in the future, after Bron retires, still having this young talent with somewhat of Bron's IQ now, just after learning from behind him, developing under LeBron. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think the San Antonio would benefit largely from this. Now just imagine the highest IQ basketball player of all time feeding lobs to an alien like Victor Wembanyama, who's already spent his summers and his off seasons, learning from the monks, learning from Kevin Garnett, Hakeem Olajuwon. Now he's spending his off season and maybe in season learning from LeBron James. Wemby might become unstoppable. This whole roster just would grow so much in one season, and then even after that, just learning from LeBron. Bron has publicly praised Wemby for years. Now, San Antonio is a great squad, a great young squad, but I do think that it would be championship or bust, and Bron would obviously face that pressure, as he has pretty much his whole career. But I think his job more so would be to mentor the future face of the NBA and just all this young talent on the Spurs. I feel like I just keep mentioning it, but I think that would be his role more. Obviously, he still needs to play basketball and everything, but he would be a great mentor for this roster while he's running the beautiful offense under Mitch Johnson. Now, I don't really see too many disadvantages with Bron going to the Spurs for either side, really. Other than the fact they only have 1 year to make it, and I do think it would kind of hurt his legacy, especially if they win. I don't think a ring would hurt his legacy or anything, but he's joining the team that just lost in the finals. I don't think it would look great for him. However, I think it would benefit the Spurs drastically, and then it would give Bron another chance. They just made the finals. And then not changing your roster really at all, and just adding a talent like LeBron James to your team. I don't know. I don't see any disadvantage for this. I think this would be incredible for the future of the sport, really, and then incredible for both sides. I don't really see any downsides to this. I don't know how likely it is to happen. I still think Cleveland's probably his best bet, but this would be San Antonio wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think it would hurt much for him to go to San Antonio. It would definitely put Wemby in a more hated position in a couple years, though. I think Wemby will be very hated soon. But I I think I don't know how likely I see this one happening. Now we're going to a surprising contender, the Dallas Mavericks, which is the wildest destination on the entire list when you look at the fact that the Dallas Mavericks made the list for completely no reason to do with basketball. Braun didn't mention Cooper Flagg, didn't even mention Kyrie Irving, who he played with, didn't mention Klay Thompson, didn't mention any players. Rich Paul's whiteboard didn't mention anything to do with basketball, and it was entirely off-court empire building. I mean, it had oil connections, golf courses, Las Vegas Sands Group, the new team president's deep connections to giants of Africa. I mean, this is a business play for LeBron. I mean, he wants to be a team owner, and I guess he's aligning himself with the massive oil money that backs Dallas, which I guess would expand his net worth instantly. But I think this is kind of a lame reason to go to a team. But they do have a new head coach in Dusty May, and you have to manage a strange ecosystem. But the off-court power play, I guess it makes sense. It's kind of, I think it's kind of a lame move. But LeBron teaming up with Cooper Flagg, giving him, mentoring him as well, getting back with Kyrie, and then also teaming up with Klay. All three of them are, getting up there in age. But I think him mentoring Cooper Flagg would be cool to see. I think the reason for him going to Dallas would be a very lame reason, and I don't want to see this happen at all, if I'm being real. At least not for these reasons. If it had something to do with mentoring Cooper Flagg, maybe that's different. But for these reasons, I don't want to see this happen at all. I mean, I think because if Braun moves to Dallas, it's only for business. Like, it signals to the world that he doesn't care about championships, and he's just money making. And I mean, whatever, I guess. But I don't know. I don't think it's a cool move. And I don't think it'll benefit him money-wise, but it doesn't really benefit either team. Best thing it could do is just, like I keep saying, mentor Cooper Flagg and help him develop, but that's about it. I don't want to see this one happen. It's just the ultimate, billionaire move, and it's not even really basketball at this point. Now, the last landing spot for LeBron James is what I think is another dark horse. Is the Denver Nuggets. Now, I think this would be a great fit too. I mean, this is actually has to do with basketball and like the Mavericks, so I do think the logic here would be genuinely terrifying. Just imagine putting pretty much two of the greatest minds in Nikola Jokic and LeBron James on the same floor. I mean, it'd be incredible for development as well. However, they don't have too many young players on this team, but still it'd be incredible to see. Just like I said, two of the greatest minds of the modern era, probably really ever, on the same floor. Be fun to see. Definitely be probably championship contenders as well. I mean, I know if it has LeBron, it probably will be anyway. But I do think this team could make a finals run for sure. I mean, the starting lineup would consist of Jamal Murray, Cameron Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, and then adding LeBron James into that, with Christian Brown on the team as well. I mean, it's already a championship level roster, and then, they just won a championship a few years ago, so adding LeBron James turns the Nuggets into an absolute cheat code pretty much. He wouldn't have to carry the scoring load on himself anymore. I mean, he didn't really the last couple of years in LA with Luka, but with the playmaking of him and Jokic and the scoring of him, Jokic, Aaron Gordon, this team would be, and Jamal Murray, this team would be very, split up, or not split up, but, the usage rates would be pretty even, I think. But if we're being realistic or just being real, the Denver Nuggets do have some problems financial-wise. Rich Paul said that Denver has one massive structural hurdle right now, which is dealing with Peyton Watson's restricted free agency. The front office is completely cash-strapped, so to make this work, they'd have to pay an astronomical luxury tax bill. LeBron would likely have to accept a heavily discounted contract structure to fit under the hard cap. and I think he could do it if it was maybe like Cleveland or Golden State. But I don't think I think he would want to be paid more going to a team like Denver or Denver and Minnesota. I think it would be he would need to be paid more, and he wouldn't be willing to take that discount. Maybe he would be, but I think the only reason he would take a discount like that would be pretty much needing like a guaranteed win, winning the championship, or just playing with somebody he really wanted to play with. And I'm sure he would love to play with Jokic. I think seeing him team up with Jokic would be incredibly fun to watch. But I don't see him taking that, that heavily discounted contract. Although he is 41, it'd just be a 1-year contract most likely. So maybe it does happen. I don't see Denver happening either. But this roster would have elite roster spacing, historic mastermind pairing, and then just the connection to the ownership. Denver could be a top 3 finalist for LeBron. I don't know how likely this one is either. Now, my big 3 on where I think LeBron is going to end up is number 1, Cleveland. Number 2, I'm going to say Philly. And number 3, Golden State. I think he has his best chance to win in Cleveland and Philly. And then I don't think he'll win a championship at Golden State, but I think he would love to team up with Curry. But also he could go to Miami because he would love to team up with Giannis as well. Who really knows? I'll return to this once LeBron makes his decision. But let me know in the comments where you guys think LeBron will finish off his career at. And make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content. I will be posting daily throughout the offseason and throughout the NBA season. So make sure to like and subscribe and follow for more.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents